Ladies and gentlemen, greetings and welcome back from Leipzig, Germany in the DreamHack Open, the first stop for DreamHack in 2018 in the first Rocket League premier event of the year. $50,000 on the line. All the best teams in the world pretty much made the trip, and that's the trophy that they are all fighting for. We started with 26 teams at the start of the tournament, whittled it down to 16 teams on day 2, 8 teams in day 3, and now we are down to 4. And we got 2 European teams, 2 North American teams, best of 7s all the way through. I couldn't be more excited for this tournament to unfold. My name's Axel Toss. Welcome back to the Analyst Desk. I'm joined by Gibbs and Achieves. Guys, it's been a wonderful tournament so far, and maybe a little bit of a different top 4 than a few people might have been expecting, but regardless, we've had some amazing Rocket League thus far.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. There's no Gale Force Esports in the top 4, so guess who?
That's the weirdest one.
Yeah, with the spoiler, but these 4 teams have played extremely well throughout all of RLCS Season 4. They were all at the World Championship.
Yep.
And these guys have a lot of Grand Finals experience between them. Not as much as Gale Force, but Gale Force is out. That's one of the major teams. Everyone expects to win this, so it's anyone's game. 4 teams left, 3 series left.
Yeah.
1 team takes it all.
Yeah, cool stuff. Let's go.
And best of 7, we're going to get right into it. Gibbs, we were talking in the break a little bit there about some history between these 2 teams. You want to fill the audience in on what you're telling me?
Yeah, PSG doesn't like to play against guess who. When they were a Market, the 3rd place game in the EU Regionals. Well, PSG went up 3 games to 0. Problem was, that was a best of 7. PSG forgot, and guess who? Only the 2nd time ever, a reverse sweep, winning 4 games in a row. And then E-League, when Market, they beat everyone in their group, including PSG. PSG, you forgot it was a best of 5 this time. You went up 2 games, and, well, Market beat you 3 in a row. So maybe let Guess Who take the first game, just to get it out of the way, and then adapt like they did earlier versus Ghost, and then, of course, today as well, and then take the series that way.
All right, I can't wait to see how this unfolds, but again, let's take a look at that bracket. Remind our viewers of exactly what's going on. Again, we came into today with 8 teams: Gale Force, Guess Who, PSG, Flipside, Dignitas, G2, Energy, and Equinox. Guess Who, PSG, G2, and NRG making it to the final 4. And I think the biggest upset there on that list, Guess Who against Gale Force. I feel like all of these, go back and watch for sure, maybe except that last one, unless you want to see just how dominant NRG can be. But 3 out of the 4 of our quarterfinals going all the way to 5 games, definitely giving us a lot of fireworks. But again, we're going to focus in here on this European semifinal. Once again, a best of 7 between PSG and Guess Who. PSG got off to a super hot start in this tournament, pretty much won all the way through into the final 8. Guess Who had a little bit more work, more or less, as they had a pretty tough bracket, but they made it here. But here's a look at PSG getting ready to go. That's Bluey, one of the newcomers onto the scene. Such a young player, but he is super electric. Fireworks all over the place when he's able to make some crazy stuff happen. Some of our most impressive highlights from the season were from Bluey.
And this is one of 2 undefeated teams left. Of course, NRG is also undefeated. PSG, though, this is their first top 4 finish since Northern Arena, where they made it to the Grand Finals and lost to Cloud9. So they're looking to make a 2nd trip back. But you see Shaw said here, it's really funny to see these 2 squads, because it's like PSG is so small, and then you go over to the Guess Who side. Like before, we saw Pashi like kind of throwing Bluey into the camera.
An awesome post-game matchup.
Like, just combined weight alone, PSG maybe makes up Pashi.
Yeah,
maybe.
But actually, you say Bluey's got a lot of firework capability. You're not wrong, but all throughout this Open, I actually think Farah has stepped up in a big way on the offensive side of things. He's got some pretty decent numbers all throughout the tournament.
I almost thought you were going to say Fairy Peak.
No, but Fairy Peak has done awesome too.
And we're taking a look at the other side of the stage here, looking at Guess Who. We're not asking you to play a game. That's the name that they're going with for this tournament. It is Guess Who. And here's Fairy Peak. One of the best players in the world out there for sure. I think, was it Shogun and Gibbs agreeing? Was it
Shogun and Quinn?
Shogun and Quinn were agreeing that
and a lot of the pros.
This is their favorite. This is their favorite player out there. And then you have Pashi, the legend, home crowd favorite, perhaps. Drove his Mustang here. He doesn't live too far away, and of course, Freaky there at the end. This team is so formidable. At any time, they can rise up. Obviously, they went through some challenges yesterday. Had a couple losses in there. But able to bring it back, and now they've got a lot of momentum.
And it's been a long time coming for a Grand Finals appearance for Freaky. He doesn't have any. Pashi had one in Season 2 World Championships, just barely lost out to Flipside. and Fairy Peak Season 3 World Championship.
Yep.
Missed out by 1 goal in game number 7 to win that. So Passion Fairy Peak looking to return and bring Freaky to a grand finals.
All right, Twitch chat, it's time to make your voice heard. Do you think PSG will win, or do you think Guess Who will win? Let us know by using hashtag PSG for PSG and the hashtag Guess Who. We'll see who ends up coming up on top there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I feel like it's a pretty even match overall. And remember, this is a best of 7. So I know all of you expert analysts there in the Twitch chat, I see you guys. I see you guys. Make sure you consider that this is a best of 7, so there's a lot of room to work with. And can we talk about that a little bit? The difference between best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, Gibbs. What do you expect to see here? What kind of how differently are these teams approaching this matchup?
So PSG, they've looked really good in longer series with Ghost.
Yeah,
they were down 2-1, and they changed their play style, won that series. Same thing earlier today with Flipside Tactics, down 0-2, come all the way back. So it seems like it's gonna be helping them, but like Pashi and that leadership, it's the same on that side. Like both teams can make this work. Just comes down to who actually wants it more, or who gets that lucky bounce. That's
maybe.
You know,
sometimes
it could come down to that.
That's what really decides the best of 3, though, because sometimes those crazy things like that can happen.
Yeah, for one game.
In a best of 3, you've got no games to work with. You can't make any mistakes in that best of 3. Day 1 is a very, very tough endeavor for a lot of teams because you cannot make any mistakes. Day 2.
Wow.
Day 2, you get best of 5s, and it's like, sure, you can maybe afford to lose that first game in a series, but then you get to those best of 7s, you say, all right, best of 7 is the marathon. You've got a lot of time to change how you approach a team, and then on defense or on offense, you have a lot of time to adapt to what they're doing. So you have to be flexible and also adaptable.
All right, I'm excited to get into the semifinal involving 2 of our top European teams, Guess Who against PSG. Let's get into our predictions. Achieves, we'll start with you.
I got to go with Guess Who. They put on a really good show versus Gale Force. Yes, I picked Gale Force to win, and since they beat them, they're all the way in.
Well, I picked Guess Who to win this entire tournament, and honestly, I didn't really have many reasons. I was just like, everyone's a little cold in the offseason. They're a really good team. Maybe they'll come out a little bit hotter. It took them to day 3, but now they look extremely hot. I'm going to go here with Guess Who. I'm thinking 7 games. This should be a very close series. Hopefully no reverse sweeps because I don't want anyone to die on stage. So hopefully at least it's back and forth.
All right, my prediction, looking back at the most previous season of RLCS, PSG coming in as Frontline was their name, right? And then they got picked up about halfway through the season, and they had an amazing regular season, going toe-to-toe with Method in the standings.
They started really hot.
Right, exactly. And then they kind of faded away as the World Championship came around, and they've had that live event experience. And I think we've learned that they're incredibly young, but can they get that experience on stage to where they can become a formidable team? And I'm looking at that first match in the quarterfinals against Flipside Tactics. They went down 0-2. I believe that could be a really good thing for them because they just won 3 games in a row leading up to this match. I'm going to take PSG here. I think the main trouble that they have is getting into their flow, getting into their zone, and playing the incredible level of Rocket League that we've seen them be able to do. So I think that the reverse sweep against Flipside Tactics is going to be huge for them in determining how they do in the series. I think it's going to go all the way to 7 games. I think it's going to be really close, but I give the edge to PSG. Now, I want to see what the Twitch chat has to say. Let's get those percentages up. 54% in favor of Guess Who over PSG. So the Twitch audience there, kind of torn.
And Twitch chat is not lazy. They had to write a lot more letters for Guess Who.
That is absolutely
good
true.
job,
wow.
Twitch chat.
The character count really
I
matters.
honestly thought PSG might win it just because it's 3 letters.
I mean,
I thought it might
wrong.
have
I know.
I am a big believer in the keystroke count.
The true test is going to be the next semifinal, I guess, NRG G2, right?
Well, I mean,
they're both
see, that's why
short.
I think this
that's gonna be
hashtag
even.
should have been PSG versus hashtag guest. Or guess, not guest, just guess.
All right,
because then it's 3 versus 4 and it'd be close.
Our Twitch audience is torn. We're more or less torn on the desk, I think. Gregan, Shogun, help us make sense of what's going to happen here.
Well, one thing we get told we do too much is always go for EU. And in this situation, we're still going to go for EU. You know, Europe
so biased.
Europe are guaranteed to win this game.
Well done. Well, yeah. But both these teams, I mean, you were looking to come over to us for a little bit of more of a definitive answer. You're not going to find it here whatsoever. This is going to be incredibly close.
All right, I can't wait to see what happens. It's PSG against Guess Who, a best of 7 to find out who's going to be our first team in the grand final of the DreamHack Open. Gregan, Shogun, take it away.
Thank you very much. Yes, it is going to be close. And both teams have performed at a top level in this tournament. Definitely been a scrappy tournament as a whole. But of all the teams that have performed, I think Guess Who today have showed the strongest performance.
Absolutely. And both these teams have been towards the top 4 side of Europe for such a long time right now. But if you want to be remembered 2 years, 3 years, maybe 10 years down the line, you have to start picking up major tournament wins. Both these teams still lacking that major trophy in their cabinet, and only one of them is going to have a shot at taking it.
Yeah, just looking at this stage, think of the most historical player there, and that is PSG. He has been around in the Rocket League scene since right at the beginning, and yet still hasn't taken a big LAN win.
Absolutely. I was speaking to some people in the crowd earlier on saying that they were PSG fans, so I expect them to be incredibly loud in this series as the aforementioned starts off with an attempt from the ceiling. Well, at least he's made sure he's got his hands warm. Over to the side, PSG once again off the wall, going to look for Fairy Peak. And you can see that man in the back. Freaky seems to be the designated defender from Guess Who. Has been shaky at times and incredibly solid at others. He will be one of the most important and influential players on this field. There's another one right there for you though, Fairy Peak. Mine and Quinn's best player in the world, but Freaky almost turns it in off the crossbar. 45 seconds played. Freaky can turn around yet again. I don't think he expects to be able to get another shot quite so quickly. Fairy Peak tries to delay his shot, but no pre-jump means no goal.
You just mentioned Freaky hitting that crossbar. The team has been joking about how much Freaky hits it. He's getting a little bit frustrated with it himself, but it does mean they're getting close. PSG almost sneaking out on home. Freaky this time into the goalkeeper, but it is something he needs to sort out. Shoot on target.
Ferrer forced to respect the big German as he came through for the shot. Any contact from PSG needed to be reacted to. As Guess Who still controlling the pace of the game, put down. Not quite on target. And now it'll be Ferrer. He's got PSG right behind him, and he still managed to play it just about quick enough. And now Chalset up on the wall. Fairy Peak will just tap it on, give it enough power, but PSG have got players on the halfway line as they will reset and put themselves forward yet again. Fairy Peak's going to really struggle to get to that ball, but PSG have managed to turn the tables now. After Guess Who controlled the opening minute, now they have had it ever since the 4 minutes was hit, and that is a booming shot. Bluey, he got something to it, and it was more than enough to turn it past Bluey.
One of the most powerful goals we've seen in the day, but that is because Freaky couldn't get behind that ball. He sent it back towards his own net. He was on very low boost, probably over-expected his acceleration from that boost and didn't get behind it enough, and he scores that goal. But yes, it was Bluey putting the pressure on, sending it towards the net, forcing a save out of the boostless Freaky.
Something that Dignitas struggled with very much in their previous series was those rebound shots. It's good to see that PSG not going to have too many of the same problems. Booming the shot forward. There's another one, a team pinch. And you can see how much they enjoyed that.
And I think Chalset got a little bit of a touch on there, but as Bluey sent it up into the ceiling, oh no Chalset involved, but it did confuse the defense a little bit, but it was Bluey through the middle of the pitch, creating speed on that ball, sending it up high and following it up.
And Bluey got a ridiculous amount of power on that as well. That's 2 times he struck the ball incredibly well indeed. As Guess Who find themselves 2 goals down. That could slowly creep its way through, and PSG will bring it back to 1.
Freaky's lack of shooting ability was the demise of PSG there, as they all reacted to Freaky's touch. Chalset being passive, expecting a shot, nothing came, and PSG could come in and finish it off. And it's always funny when that happens. A player who's struggling to shoot gets a goal as a consequence.
Is Freaky just going to keep getting worse and worse at shooting until it comes full circle?
Sends it backwards. Well, he scored an own goal already. That's the opposite of shooting.
That's Freaky gets to the end of the infield pass, finds the top right-hand side corner. More of that, please.
And a beautiful pass as well. PSG dropping that one down to the center where Freaky is charging forward all the way from his back boost. And now the scores are level. Guess Who's stepping it back up now after that early lead from PSG.
Bluey wants to regain the lead nice and quick, however. Well, this was even for all of about, I think it was 2 seconds.
At the halfway point, we see our 5th goal. At this rate, we'll be going into the 10 mark, because these guys are just letting goals happen too frequently. The defense leaving a lot of gaps, and it's allowing these teams to finish it. needs to tighten up if they want to last this whole best of 7, otherwise it will take forever.
Josette looking to chase down. Got enough, but Bluey forced to pretty much jump straight upwards. Always difficult to make too much out of that. Fairy Peak. That was an impressive attempt, trying to just bounce the bottom of the Batmobile out. Josette takes the infield pass. This is being very well utilized by both teams. But maybe just due to the amount of respect that they both have for one another, as it seems like the defense has primarily just been get on the goal line and prepare for anything to come forward rather than challenging in the midfield.
Yeah, and that has opened up a lot of space, as you said. And with that infield pass, it repositions the goal line defense, which can often be a flaw because then you've got gaps in your goal and also you start charging towards the ball at the wrong angle, so you can beat everyone.
PSG on the counter-attack, not able to create an opportunity in time before Guess Who managed to scramble back in net. Originally caused by a double commit by Guess Who. Ball to the backboard yet again. Pashi plays it down for Freaky. Got it on his hood, looks to play it over the top. Flicks are very difficult, however, when two players are in the net, as one's just going to chase you down, the other one's just waiting. They pretty much know where the ball's going to go before you even play it, so very hard to create a goal scoring opportunity out of that. Now Bluey. Got Fair on the far side. Pretty much just going to have everyone from PSG rotate back. Going to be needed as well. Well played from Freaky. Puts it up high. Pashi with the follow-up. Doesn't make contact. No, all three over in the blue side. The bounce, however, is so slow that it's going to be hard for Bluey to create anything. And he can't turn it in. 50 seconds remaining. One goal still separates.
Yeah, they're going to need a goal quick, Guess Who, because it's been a very slow-paced game compared to what we see of both of these teams earlier on. And that means you won't get many opportunities in this last minute. At the start, the goals were flooding in, but it's settled down now. And PSG are finally looking strong in defense.
Now two players put into the corner as well. Guess Who? Absolutely crucial demolition from Fairy Peak. He will still be beat by Blue in the corner. Wants to get the pass. Josette. I think he just gave up on the play right before Bluey got it to work out. But when you're one goal up, you can't really criticize him too much for that. Prioritize the one goal lead. Pashi far side will be found by Farah. Need to create something. They need to create it now, but Fairy Peak and Freaky get in each other's way. Game 1 to PSG.
It's the first 7-game series, potentially, that we'll see in this tournament, and it is a very different style. We've gone all the way from best of 3s, now in the best of 7 phase. Such a different energy level you need, because one game doesn't mean as much now.
And I was actually speaking to Snevsky during the previous game, getting his opinion and his thoughts as to how he thought his tournament came around. And he actually told me, like, whilst you're up there, it's a long day of Rocket League. It's not like the RLCS League play where you play 2 and then you're immediately done for the entire time. You play, you wait around, and you have to keep yourself mentally ticking. You have to go and get yourself something to eat, something to keep yourself with as much energy as possible. So half the battle has already been played out before we even got onto the stage for this. We're going to see as we go throughout this series who really managed to keep better care of themselves.
Yeah, because they could have fatigued a lot since that first game.
Heck, even nerves, just jittering your leg across, that is wasting energy. And these are definitely players at a different level of play than is their week-to-week schedule. Game 2 is coming up soon enough. PSG and Guess Who traded goals for the most part in Game 1, then calmed down significantly towards the second half. What do we have in store for us in Game 2?
Yeah, we know that PSG earlier on were adapting a lot as they start the game off. Farah scoring early.
All right, more of the same apparently. That is a really poor touch from Freaky. Usually if you try and get those clears, you need to get it all the way downfield, and having it land midfield is probably the worst thing that could happen, because PSG are going to have players left and right, which is their preferred defensive style. Now Josette bump away, Fairy Peak taking control. Farah now does end up missing. Fairy Peak will be forced to take his time and watch as PSG bounce the ball back behind him, tries to follow up. There's the shot from Pashi. Freaky forced to rotate as he now takes on Farah. Launches the ball up high. A little bit wasteful overall, but the ball was always traveling away from him. So it was always going to be pretty difficult. Fairy Peak once again clearing away. And credit has to be given to PSG for the way they've just looked so much different to their usual selves throughout this tournament. Much more disciplined overall. It's going to make this one-goal lead look so much more convincing now than it would have done back during the RLCS.
Yeah, it's almost good that PSG aren't producing as many highlight players, because a lot of those in the past were overcommitments, things which they shouldn't have really gone for, but it somehow worked, whereas now they're just clinical. They're making things happen through their control. They're making their defense solid, and a goal as the next priority.
Yeah, originally it was pretty much everyone reacting to Bluey. Now Bluey is just part of the team, and a very solid part of the team at that, but that makes him more effective overall, rather than just everyone staring out for him. It's Freaky, clears the ball to the middle, almost a minute and 30 played of game number 2. Finally, guess who? Get the ball into the PSG half of the field. Something they've struggled to do thus far, despite being 1 goal down. Now played up to Bluey as Farah and him link up. Chaussette would like to see the ball soon, but Farah is going to keep this difficult, and finally Chaussette tries to rocket himself to the ball. Isn't quite able to make contact as it got stolen away from him for the final second, but PSG, it's just they always take option B, never the most direct route. Instead, they want to pull you out. Now off the backboard. A while, but Chaussette should be the first player. Isn't it actually there? I think he's low on boost, and Pashi will turn it through. I think that he didn't know he communicated it too late.
Yeah, Pashi late to that ball, in fact. He stopped before he accelerated, and Chaussette and Bluey both getting close to the ball. Either of them could have taken the touch, but it was Chaussette who committed. Bluey was already too tight, and that meant he was chippable. And Pashi sends it over the top of him, and that is the scores level. And I'm just noticing the trend at the moment of a little bit too far forward. The last man back is just getting themselves close to that ball, so all it takes is a powerful lob, and it's going to put them under pressure.
Backboard yet again. Bluey tries to force the ball downfield. All tied up here, heading into the second half of the game. PSG, even in this game, have still controlled the majority of the possession. Yet guess who? Always dangerous, especially if PSG will offer the mistakes. Freaky over in the corner. Chaussette does miss the challenge. Freaky ends up putting it straight towards Bluey. Guess who finally transitioning into the blue half of the field. Freaky tap up. Not quite the touch he expected. But the ball more came and hit him than he hit the ball. Freaky puts it over, and that's going to tip itself in. PSG not there to make the save.
Is there a bump on the keeper? I think so.
Maybe
Pashi taking out Chaussette. Yeah, I think he gave him a little nudge in the back there, just taking Chaussette off the goal line, putting him inside the dead zone of the net where you cannot make a save. And that allows Freaky to score.
You notice every single time we don't know these things, something tries to block our view. That time it was the ball. Almost got in our way. Bluey puts it straight down. Now we Pashi with the shot. Guess who? Picked up the 2-1 lead, and once again Pashi goes searching for Chaussette. Bluey now taps down. 2 players committed. This is an opportunity. Pashi still hasn't got back. Bluey with the setup. Is there anyone around as an option? Ferro will put it into the bottom left-hand corner. 102 seconds left. 2-0 is the scoreline.
Ferro finding out the far side. Freaky just not quite getting up quick enough. And both Pashi and Fairy Peak underneath the ball. Neither of them able to get behind that one and make the save. Well-placed shot by Ferrer, and scores are back to 2-2. Similar position to the first game. Around halfway, scores are level. Who will take it then?
Chaussette back over. He's got time against Freaky, who's going to be holding himself back whilst he waits for Guess Who to finally return, which they have done. Pashi levers it up high. Anyone in the midfield for Guess Who to aim for? Probably not. As PSG try to transition, it is Pashi once again. He's been incredibly quick this game. Usually Pashi more of a rotational style of player, but this time it looks like he's using twice as much boost as usual. And he will be found with the infield pass. However, usually for those sort of shots, the infield pass has to be very powerful for you to put a powerful shot on target.
Freaky just there with not much boost, was waiting for that midfield boost, trying to be annoying, trying to convince the opposition they had to outplay him, but actually they could have just took it past him quite easily. He's not going to accelerate away from there with 0 boost.
I think the natural state you think of people in freeze is always just to have 100 boost at all times, unless you 100% know. Farah manages to pull out 2. This is an opportunity for PSG to put themselves 3-2 up. Bluey unable to get it over at the top of the 2 flopping players. Farah once again gets his shot tapped away. 27 seconds remaining, still all tied up. PSG did take game 1. This time they're being made to fight for game 2 as a lovely touch from Fairy Peak. Will try to transition offense only momentarily to the PSG half. And now Chaussette does get challenged over in the corner. That's the problem with trying to go off the wall, is it always is pretty much just going to launch outfield and usually towards your end. After a slower affair, we will head into overtime. Once again, Gregan, we just get a flurry of goals and then not much else, but it could be over nice and quick as Fairy can't take it past Bluey.
Guess who have been great on the kickoffs all day, and that is something you've always got to watch out for because there are a lot of them, especially in high-scoring games. And if a team has a particular advantage in those situations, tend to score, tend to put a lot of pressure on early, then every goal is their advantage, even if they concede.
Long ball from Fairy. He just wants to get off the backboard if he can. Maybe even find Bluey, which would be even better. PSG struggling to open up Guess Who. Pashi's team is notorious for usually having incredible defense. We've seen him win games with 14 saves and maybe 2 shots before, back when he was on Swarm, defeating Fnatic at the time. Very big. He's got Pashi once again, holding himself in the midfield. Seems to be his designated spot, but another long player. Freaky will be by himself against Bluey. Finally, Fairy Peak rotates in. He did actually not quite get the boost. I think he was trying to delay it so he could try and grab it. Ferret can turn around, but instead leaves it for Bluey, who wants to get off the backboard. Backboard just seems like a no-go zone right now. Nothing really working out from it, although this might finally work out. Freaky forced away, Pashi forced to watch. PSG take game 2.
They're now 2 games up, and that was Freaky dropping that ball into the middle after a missed challenge. Not able to get the continuation block, and that left Pashi in a horrible situation. Close range shot, unsavable for him, and that is now PSG in a very, very strong position. We were saying before, though.
That's why.
We were saying before, last time this team went up 3 games against Guess Who, it was a 4-game reverse sweep. There you go, just watch there. Freaky should have been able to get that block, but I think he was just a little bit static with 0 boost.
Does suddenly happen during games like that where it can just suddenly be a case of, okay, I don't have anything. Especially when you've been caught on the defense for the vast majority of the matchup. And you actually saw during the replay that Pashi was just stood still. He knew as soon as the ball was launched that it was beating him.
Just looking at Bluey there, he sits incredibly close to that screen. It's always interesting knowing how these players play. They're all varied. Obviously, controller and keyboard and mouse has been a discussion point with Yukio and Fruity in this competition. But
Why do we even have a back to that chair? We might as well just get him a stool at this rate.
Or one of those like fit balls where you don't even need to lean back. But yeah, he's just so close to the screen. Can he see everything from there?
I think he's got his FOV turned up to 110, but he can only see like 80 of it.
Yeah, what's his peripheral vision? Anyway, enough about Bluey's seating position. We have a very important semi-final here, DreamHack Open. Currently, PSG are 2 games up, and that is huge for them as they have many games to play with. Who's going to take it, though? Guess Who played well earlier on, but PSG playing much better in this game.
And as seems to be usual, the game starts with Guess Who winning the kickoff, but PSG eventually take control of the ball. Chaussette put it under his wing. Now he can go the entire way, forcing the save from Freaky. The follow-up from Bluey is pulled off as he does try and steal boost instead. Now will be a target man up on the wall, but instead Ferret forced to read his own touch. Now a big clear put in from Fairy Peak. Bluey still pretty low. He didn't quite steal the boost when he tried to earlier, and now it is taken out by Pashi over in the background. Dangerous tap down, and Ferret will take his time. Freaky, good challenge. Flicks over the top as Bluey as well. Chaussette, final man, he is against Fairy Peak. First touch too heavy, however, and Chaussette can react. Will be needed yet again. No, he will not. This time it is Bluey holding off Guess Who. We're having a couple of chances.
Oh, Fairy Peak
doesn't do anything in terms of physical contact. He does everything in terms of mental damage.
Just look at him pull out in that final moment as that drops in. That is so sneaky. Pashi credited for the goal, but all the work was done by Fairy Peak, playing with the minds of this young PSG team.
For those statisticians out there, he gets 0 points for that, but I want you to put a little asterisk that just says godlike next to Fairy Peak. That was insane. Now, guess who find themselves 1 goal up. Every single time we see to do this, doesn't really last all that long. This is usually the cue for the flurry of goals to happen. Fairy Peak unable to latch to the ball.
Keeps taking it away from Freaky though.
Oh, Freaky also gets cut up by Fairy on the way back.
Yeah.
What is going on from Guess Who in offense? PSG, if they can get this set up nice and quickly, Guess Who won't even have time to defend. No one really a target man for PSG either. Finally, a shot coming in off the backboard. Freaky did get it away, but PSG were sort of ruined by the ball bouncing so awkwardly for them and not really carrying much pace. Chaussette goes to Bluey. Bluey can probably pass it back, gets it back to Chaussette. Just over the top of the zero boost, he leaves it for Ferrer instead. 2 players committed. Chaussette will be rotating back. Here's Fairy Peak. He's got time, and why would you ever bet against him? Ooh, almost made it 2.
Just out of reach with that ceiling play. And we are approaching halfway here. I am noticing the Guess Who that we saw in day 1, the one that didn't trust each other. In particular, Fairy Peak, yes, he got a lot of the goals, he made a lot of the important plays, but he was also taking a lot of great moments away from his teammates. You just need to really trust each other when you're playing at this stage.
Chaussette wants to get up, gets it off the backboard. That could be an open opportunity, but Fairy Peak does shut it down. Blue wants to keep this going before the defensive rotation is put back together. Able to do so, and now Pashi still can't win the challenge. Guess Who need to get rid of this ball soon. Otherwise, they run the risk of dropping their 1-goal lead, but PSG doing such a great job holding the midfield. Now Bluey. Good challenge, can set up off the backboard. It will be uncontested, straight down the middle. If that ball was anywhere else, it goes in.
Freaky touching it away into the space, smart save. There's normally 2 options with saving, left or right, and if you make the wrong decisions, you can often get caught out as the follow-up, but Freaky smartly putting it to the side with no opposition.
PSG's still in offense. They've been in here for quite some time now, but it doesn't matter for much. They can't take a goal. At least they've stolen away at least 1 boost. And Pashi taking the large one. Considering Ferry also tried to go for it, that means that at least he is low as well. Still able to get up there just in time. Pashi with the follow-up. Guess Who surviving the offense from PSG for an incredibly long time. They got a second to breathe. And now that demo from Freaky means he can chase down PSG, forced to defend. Well played from Guess Who. They did such a great job of surviving there.
You gotta remember as well, Guess Who are 1 goal up at this point. This is the longest sustained lead they've had in this series so far. And they've just got to play it out for another 30 seconds. You can start seeing the slowing down of PSG. They don't know where to go. They need to create a chance now.
This shot set. Can't quite get it sorted out. That backboard is very rarely working for PSG, but they've had enough success that they choose to keep going for it. Now Freaky time wasting, and he's doing a great job of that as well. 15 seconds remaining. Freaky does have Pashi around. Fairy Peak choosing to come forward as he sees Freaky rotate back. Now Bluey and PSG, they need to make their last chance stick. Chaussette lofts the ball up high, but Freaky, I think he's getting a little bit used to just tapping it into that corner at this point. It's almost like it's a practice drill every time PSG move forward. And now if the ball touches the floor, Guess Who will pick up their first game of the series.
Not the prettiest of wins, but it works. 1-0 can take you to the finals. But it's very tense to stick on that 1-goal difference, especially the way PSG were playing. There's a few shots which, if they'd gone a little bit more on target, that could have been a very different game.
I mean, you want to talk about pretty. That goal from Guess Who. Let's take another look at it. That is the shot from Pashi. Here's everything else that doesn't get told you from the stats.
And what you don't realize there, as the general spectator, is he didn't pull out of that as his first decision. He pulled out of that after seeing Chaussette flying up and moving across it. He recognized that he didn't need to hit it, and if he did hit it, it was going to get saved. And it's those kind of last moment adjustments that are the difference between a world-class player like Fairy Peak and the average ranked player, right? They can see stuff as it's happening, and they can adapt.
So good news, though, for PSG. They can't be reverse swept.
That's true.
That is a pattern that we will not be seeing repeat itself today. Farah, again, as always, the player that is usually the most talkative between games. Surprisingly, one of the most experienced on this roster as well. Even though he's only really been a pro player for just over a year, just under a year right now.
It was the end of 2016 that him and Fairy Peak split up in the Luminance roster, I think.
Oh, that is a terrible touch. Gonna go all the way downfield. Guess who? Saved their blushes, but they almost were the cause of their own demise from a pinch own goal. As we have started ourselves up in game 4. Fairy Peak launching long. Farah and Chaussette both struggling. Bluey forced to come in and help them out. Now Farah ends up missing yet again. Fairy Peak trying to force something. This is looking very different to the previous starts that we've seen from these two teams. A little bit slower so far, as neither of them really wanted to make a mistake. Chaussette forced to play to the side. Probably going to be an even better idea in hindsight after one of his teammates was demoed. Guess who controlling the pace for the time being, but now transition to the other side. Farah trying to chase down, gets bumped at the final second. Guess who survived the quick injection of pace from PSG.
That bump forced the shooter to actually clear the ball. Not only did he ruin his shot, but sent it back into his own half. But it was a desperate situation. Something needed to be done. And that has been scraped out alive. No goals conceded yet.
Ricky going to try and follow. Good contact, immediately challenged. Guess who have controlled the majority of the field in this game as Fairy Peak wanted to tap that straight down. Now be Freaky by himself. Chaussette wanted to try and bait him out, but his contact wasn't high enough to really cause too many trouble. As Pashi now clears long. Fairy Peak, one tap. He's going to try and go for the double tap. Can't quite get it down. And Freaky, no follow-up from him. He has been removed from the pitch. He can actually be there for the defense, however. Bluey doesn't care and less about that. Chaussette with the follow. It is hit everywhere but the net for PSG during this run of play. And finally, guess who? Clear their lines, but maybe only momentarily. Bluey wants to go solo. He tried for the flip reset, couldn't quite land it. That is a slice of bread that he has to try and land on if he gets that flip reset.
We just don't see flip resets that much in the top level play because you don't get given the space. It requires your opponents to give you a little bit more time. People are expecting it these days as that shot is having to be pushed away by Pashi. Excellent work by him as we just gone past halfway, still 0-0. Neither team has been able to find it past the stellar defense of PSG or Guess Who.
Up high now, Farah wants to clear. Going to be straight over to Freaky, who wants to tap it back into the corner. He's been very good at chasing up so far. Guess who looking to try and put that pressure on the one that they've had for the vast majority of this game. As the counter-attacks from PSG have looked just that close to scraping past Guess Who's defense at times. Now Fairy Peak takes the shot. Chaussette will easily save. Was actually quite close to him, so it meant that he couldn't catch it with the bumper and clear long. Off the backboard. Long play from Fairy Peak, looking for Freaky. Shot is low. Definitely wasn't going to hit the crossbar that time around. Not able to sneak through, however. 90 seconds remaining, still scoreless.
I'm noticing a strong correlation between Freaky taking shots and saves being easy. He needs to start changing it up. And if he can, then he might start getting goals for himself because he has been giving opportunities. That chance where he hit it low, definitely could have got more power on it. And that's something PSG are prepared for at the moment.
And it's actually very interesting. We have been joking about him hitting it high, but a bad shot high is much better than a bad shot low. At the very least, if you put it up high, you're wasting resources. Oh my goodness, that is not a waste of a chance. Follow-up will go anywhere. They've hit the left post, they hit the right. But no goal explosion will come through for PSG.
Oh, that's a good center.
Now Pashi forced to turn around. Fairy Peak actually takes control, gets it past one, going to struggle to get it past two. But Pashi moving forward, wanted to go searching for Bluey, isn't quite able to get a hold of him. And now Guess Who put themselves ready for a siege off the backboard. First follow-up will be Fairy Peak, puts it towards the net. Two players committed from PSG. Should be able to turn around. Chaussette Solo plays it down the field, and now PSG are the team with the best chance. Bluey just about makes it any further forward, and I don't think he gets there in time.
I do want to talk about that shooting. We were saying a good shot is one that not only might be a goal, but one that forces a tough save and a predictable save, so you can follow it up and know where it's going to go. But those low shots, they give a lot more control to the defender, but it's easier to slow touch them, so you don't have to go as fast.
So
now
your options are more, basically.
Yeah, you give him a few more chances to get away and control the ball away.
Freaky. Trying to find the backboard. Every single player from PSG is ready and waiting on the defensive side. Finally, PSG get themselves forward, but it might only be a fleeting look towards the orange end as Pashi puts it down. Bluey needs to try and cut up. Freaky will immediately turn back. Freaky's main job right now is clearly defense first. Take the shot if you can. Very similar to Season 2 Marky Duda.
Very peak.
There's going to be the flick up. Pashi can't get there in time. Once again, Bluey scraping across the field to get the save. This time he will end up missing. Freaky taking it out of the path of Pashi. 50 seconds now played. Another shot bounces off the woodwork. Come this close, both of these teams, and Farah with yet another block. 1 minute played, still 0-0.
Vital moment was when Pashi came in to take that shot. As he rotated out, he took the far boost, and that left Chazette with no boost, and now he is in an awkward position back. And that allowed PSG to move back forward, and it's so vital at this level because it opens up pressure like that. Very peak, gets an easy shot, and that is going to put them back in the run.
It took 6 minutes and 12 seconds for us to finally get a goal, but it is a crucial goal for Guess Who. We are now all tied up at 2 games apiece. Winner heads through to our cross-continental finals.
PSG won both their games in a high-scoring affair, where Guess Who won both games 1-0. So that is a vital information we're seeing here. Guess Who, when they tighten up their defense, are more likely to come out on top because they just look so hard to score against. And I genuinely believe that boost stubbing that Pashi is doing as he's rotating out is really reducing the amount of forward pressure PSG are able to put on.
I have actually really liked the team structure that we do see from Guess Who. Freaky back, Fairy Peak as a target man to then set up Pashi. Pashi's shooting accuracy has been incredible ever since the last week of league play. And he's been making very good use of it so far. So Guess Who looking more and more like a team. We actually saw it during that final replay as well. Bluey looked at Fairy Peak. He tried to go for the demo, but then thought better of it and tried to get back. He knew Fairy was a major danger in that position, and he ends up being proven correct.
One of the great things about Fairy Peak, you say how he's the upfield man to find. He's also the one going for the ball a lot. And the reason why he's so dangerous is because his decision-making is so last second. You'll never see him flying early. You'll never see him giving away what his plan is. And that means as a defender, you have to try and challenge and find where the gap is.
How do you predict someone who still hasn't even made up their mind yet?
Exactly.
Early shot from PSG. Bluey wants to find the backboard. Going to follow up himself this time around. Gets the ball all the way down. PSG can actually turn this in if they can get players forward. Shot off the side. Freaky will shut it down. PSG's focus on holding up their defense ends up being proven correct. Farah, wow, what a shot from him.
Finds a great angle here. Very powerful as well. Bluey causing a nuisance. Challenges with Pashi, and that jumps the ball in close where Farah on the half volley sends that in just below the crossbar. And that is something we're seeing so much more now, is that accuracy from close range. People out able to strike that ball hard and guarantee a goal. It's unsavable.
Guess Who, once again, coming out of the kickoff with possession. Not even trying to fake it out and lose it to the corner. They are just winning in general with the cheating up player. Very Peak now over in the corner, tries to play it back to Pashi, but he does get beat to it. Pashi tries to flick over the top of Bluey, who does read the play incredibly well. See what damage PSG can do here. Currently loose, Bluey taps it down, follow-up is available. Every single time, this is really a case of if you can boost starve an opponent, especially if you're PSG, you're pretty much guaranteed a goal right now because every single save is attempted to be challenged. Freaky By the backboard, Chaussette already up there, ready and waiting. The follow-up shot almost squeezed through, but Farah and Bluey both committed. Now Fairy Peak tries to use the rear end of the Batmobile for more power on his shot. Now, over the top. Freaky, he thinks about it. Pashi goes for the shot instead. That's two of them in the same position. Fairy Peak can cover them as they rotate back. Well, have they? They've actually stuck around the midfield. PSG can break now.
Yeah, Freaky started chasing across that ball that Pashi had, and that meant that he was out of the play in terms of rotating back behind that ball. And it did mean they had a slow rotation back, but they quickly piled the pressure back on. And we are seeing that back and forth game where one team has a go and then it gets cleared the whole way and we reset.
Ball currently played to the side. Chaussette wants to find a setup. It will be Bluey. Oh, he tried to put it straight onto the hood of Chaussette. Could have been an incredible team play brought out by PSG, who are still leading the game 1-0 as they look to try and put themselves up to match point. Oh, Bluey's up as an available target man, tries to flick it straight down. He's been watching videos of a lot, apparently. Fairy Peak, he likes to watch videos of himself, I suppose. Taking the ball all the way downfield yet again. Half the game played, 1-0. Potential setup, but a big clear. Even Guess Who knew they couldn't get anything there, holding their players in the midfield.
It was interesting though, you said Guess Who knew they couldn't get anything, but they were sitting quite deep. And then PSG cleared hard, which meant they played into the hands of what Guess Who were trying to do. The pinch, the Cookseer style pinch. Very tough to do with the Octane. I was talking with Metsonoris, Mognus and Jazer earlier, and we're talking about naming shots after people, but that is not named after anyone. Farah is given the goal.
Yeah, Bluey does all the work here. Takes out a player, takes out another, this time around with his incredible gameplay. And Farah has the tap-in. That is a 2-goal lead to PSG.
But yes, that Cookseer pinch thing, it's one of the few shots I've never seen anyone else actually pull off other than Cookseer. Pinching it off the side where you can actually score a goal.
Oh, what a save. Follow-up comes in. Bluey will then follow in Chaussette's footsteps and get a save of his own. PSG holding on to their 2-goal lead. That'll be becoming more and more comfortable for them as the time ticks away. Fairy Peak unable to make contact, allowing Chaussette to potentially go downfield. He's done very well with his challenge against Pashi, who's now the target man. Pashi puts it straight down, looking for Fairy Peak. Too heavy, however, and the Frenchman can't really make much of it. This time Freaky with the setup. Fairy Peak is up, and so well as Pashi. Not really too much happening there. And now Chaussette's got it past all three. It is a race to get back. And now a shot on target. Double commit from Guess Who. They are panicking in this match.
Once they get behind, they seem to double commit even more and panic. And that's not what you need to do. You want to spread out, give each other options. They look their most dangerous when they're passing together constantly. And it's very tough to do that when you're as narrow as they're playing right now.
Bluey pretty much tapping it straight down, tried to follow up, but he was always going to be second. Will still allow him to rotate back quicker off the backboard. The follow-up should come through. Oh, what a save from Bluey and Chaussette. It seems like they know when the shots are coming in and just timing their launches across field. Now Bluey will go up the wall. What a great place if you want to waste time. But he won't actually be able to waste too much as Fairy Peak gets it down to Freaky. Pashi will have to try and chase down to set it up. Should be a turnaround, but Fairy Peak seems to have gone all the way back. In fact, no, he's been caught out of position, turned into the net. Guess Who? They know they needed a goal. They just didn't know how to get it.
The game has now been secured. PSG were doing well to waste time in the final moments there, but Chaussette getting himself another one on the board. And you're just seeing, once Guess Who get behind, they become incredibly predictable. And it's very easy just to go in and block all of their attempts because they're trying to take Route 1, which is not going to work.
So we are going to come to the end of this game on Neo Tokyo. PSG bouncing back after 2 games going to Guess Who. Very much needed for the French organization. They are now on match point.
3-2. Are we going to be making it 3-3? Because we have only seen final games of the series in this European side of the bracket.
Yep.
Both the best of 5 going to game 5 for these 2 teams prior in the quarterfinals. Will they do it again here? And here is that goal that was just so effective. Once Bluey got that demo, it really scrambled up the defense and made Pashi question where he has to come in. because you rush it when you know you're the only person back. You want to make sure you get that play away as soon as possible.
Well, that as well as Pashi's not thinking that he's the first player to play the ball. He thinks his teammate's going to be able to take up the wall, they can go around the world and play the ball away from their defense. As soon as the demo happens, he's got to try and quickly scramble to a good position, which is always not going to be able to happen in such a short amount of time.
It's almost as if the explosion causes a bit of confusion. I think, what do I have to do now? I hadn't really thought about this iteration of defense where my teammate doesn't exist.
So, calm across the board. These players getting more and more experienced with every tournament they play. As mentioned previously, no major tournament wins for either team with these particular lineups. Obviously, Pashi has won his fair whack. Ball played straight down, and this is the perfect start for PSG.
Louis with a gorgeous shot here, reading it off of the backboard. After that half volley shot from Farah.
It was like a wave dash coming down for that one.
Yeah, he jumped up early, misread it a bit, but knew where his car was going to connect with that ball and set up his teammate. And within 4 seconds, PSG have got themselves a goal.
Who hits a wave dash shot and shoots high still? Long ball, Bluey will be there just in time. Wow, what a powerful shot.
Oh, very P.
To tear PSG's defense apart. Immediate response from the orange team.
Slotting this one underneath the defender. Pashi creating a tough situation for Chaussette. So much power on that backboard touch. He knows his teammate Fairy Peak is one of the best in the world and will be able to read anything he presents to him. And so he does. He doesn't need to hit it too hard, just needs to get it accurate. Nicely done.
We're going to see yet another goal almost immediately off the kickoff. Nope, not this time around. Effectively a reset of the game after both these teams, okay, almost managed to squeeze through. Chaussette there back in time. He's on 0 boost. Requiring Ferret to move forward and help him out. Over the top, no real options for guess who. Searching for that goal that could send them to a tiebreaker. Lovely ball play from Chaussette. Shot is on target, and there is going to be Ferret putting it 2 goals to 1. Rotation seems to be breaking down quite easily for guess who.
Fairy Peak got very tight to Freaky in that challenge, and it meant 2 players were taken out with just 1 touch. And then Pashi again had that awkward situation when he's left back. Does he charge when he knows he can get it, or does he wait and try and slow them down? This time he tried charging but misread the situation, gets beaten out, and that puts PSG back in the lead.
Absolutely. If the scores stay the same, then PSG will be heading through to our finals. Pashi looking for a setup. Farah would like a little bit more boost so he could just disrupt the play that little bit more. Now Bluey goes solo. Pashi with an incredible challenge. Set up Freaky, who pretty much just sets it straight up for Chaussette to boom the ball downfield. Not a good touch from the German. Farah putting a shot forward, but it was incredibly weak as well. Still 2 goals to 1. Plenty of game left to play. Freaky putting it up high. Chaussette takes advantage yet again. It seems like Chaussette's just searching out for Freaky's touches. Oh. Now the setup, Bluey with the shot. Great positioning, great placement, and now a great lead for PSG.
When you see people go for these backboard touch, you forget that even if they miss, they create a goal-scoring opportunity, and that is exactly what happened there. Chaussette creating a bit of mischief, trying to follow it up and set himself up for a goal. But it just hits that near post, sends it out to Bluey, and he's able to score. PSG 3-1 up, and this is vital for them because they have to hold on to this to take themselves to the finals.
Yep, need to stay active across the field. There is another long ball played. Bluey should be able to read, and Chaussette has just managed to get to the end of every single play so far. Bluey looking for the long clear from the backboard. Still nowhere to really reprieve PSG from the Guess Who offense. Another poor touch. Freaky won't be able to do too much about this, and that is goal number 4. PSG are well on the way to the finals.
There is a lot of time left, but 3-goal deficit is never easy to come back from, no matter how much time you have. As that ball is fed through to the far post, Ferrer waiting, sends it home. 4-1 PSG. What a Guess Who going to have to do here? They have got to create goal after goal and then more.
They're going to have to turn this into a shooting gallery, but Ferrer wasting time up on the wall. We're seeing just how well PSG can do at holding their opponents into their own half and wasting time on the clock. Don't expect them to put any more than 2 players forward at any time. Shot from Fairy Peak, not on target. Still PSG giving it respect. Pashi can't quite find a way through. Yet another setup for Fairy Peak. Ends up missing the ball, or at least leaving it. And now PSG will transition back to the orange side of the field. 2 minutes and 15 now for Guess Who to find 3. They still haven't really caused much danger to PSG's defense ever since going 3 goals down. And now Bluey into the corner. Shot set up off the wall. Would have liked to have struck it a little bit more powerful than that. But PSG controlling both the left and right wall so far. Bluey, that was just rude, to be honest. Freaky tapped away, can't follow up to grab the save. And now it's down to 1:45. Guess Who? The time is ticking away from them, and they still haven't really been able to do much damage at all.
Their touches are giving away the ball too easily, putting them out of a strong position that they could make for themselves, where PSG have done quite the opposite this game. Every touch has put them in an even more favourable position as Bluey, from a distance, puts the 5th goal in. And if there wasn't a nail in the coffin already, then it has been well and truly hammered in.
I just want to remind Farah that maybe the high fives shouldn't be able to be that hard. You've got to play later on should you go on to win this. That is almost as vicious as the scoreline at this point in time. 5 goals to 1. Guess Who have got it all to do. Will it be another? It will. Chaussette makes it 6, and this is no longer a game. This is just an execution.
You've got to say, Guess Who had to try something, and it's just not worked this game. They've given away so many goals that it's just put it out of reach. No matter what they try now, it's going to be impossible. Never before have we seen such a big win fought back from. So Guess Who are just going to try their absolute best to try and make the scoreline even nicer. Like, they're not going to be able to get back 5 goals.
This is a statement right now to the 2 North American teams left in the tournament. PSG have improved by leaps and bounds during the off-season, and the final 50 seconds is more or less just a victory lap for them.
And as Bluey said earlier on when they got interviewed, these guys have been practicing in the off-season. They've been playing 6-mans. They've been making sure they stay fresh for this up-and-coming season, and it shows at DreamHack. They have been the most in form of the previous European giants. Guess Who have just met too much strength.
Heading into the final few moments of this match. They're now going to try and turn on the style. Bluey pre-jumping, looking for the pass. Now Chaussette over in the corners. We head into the final 20 seconds now. Guess Who? It just seems like they want to get at least 1 goal to make the goal scoreline look a little bit more respectable, but PSG won't even allow them that. They will head on to our next round. A grand final appearance for PSG is now scheduled. Who will be they taking on? We're going to be finding out in just a few moments, but domination for the boys in blue.
PSG are your first finalists for DreamHack Open in Leipzig. A well-earned route to the final has been achieved, and they are happy about it. Not destroying the stage once again.
I don't think it was like a shocking enough victory for them. It seemed like the writing was on the wall.
They controlled it.
And yeah, it pretty much is actually a very good example of how much they've improved recently. No longer are those wins suddenly as excruciating and difficult as they used to be, like when they beat Cloud9, like when they beat Gale Force. Just so much better at controlling the field and sucking the life out of their opponents.
Indeed, and well played to Guess Who, getting it to the top 4. I don't know if that's overachieving, because we've expected highly of them for a long time now.
What is overachieving is beating tournament favorites.
Exactly. Taking out Gale Force to make their way to that stage, that is a huge achievement for them. And as we said, this is a huge start to 2018. Prove to the rest of the Rocket League scene what you're made of. And I think Guess Who have done very well at that, but PSG even better so. Waiting in the final for the North American semi-final. Any final words from you, Shogun?
Make it good, lads. Make it good. Boys on the desk, to you.
Thank you, Gregan and Shogun, and congratulations to PSG. A 4-2 victory over Guess Who brings them to the grand finals of our tournament here in Leipzig, the DreamHack Open in Rocket League. What a match there. It seemed very close. I feel like maybe there was a moment in Game 4, we were tied, or Game 5, I should say, we were tied 2-2, but there were some moments, something happened, PSG went up, and then they just kept going, and then they were able to take down the series.
And that Game 5 was crucial. I thought once they lost 2 in a row, they might start tilting. Bluey said he was tilting a little bit during the series earlier today, so I was like, uh-oh, if they lose 2 in a row, and I was calling it, I was like, it's over. It's going to be 4 in a row, but no, they bounce back, and it's just showing. Every tournament that these guys are in, they're maturing more and more, and we see it here again. Another Grand Finals appearance, their second one since October from the Northern Arena, so hats off to them. The only other European team with 2 Grand Finals since Gale Force was created, so congrats to them.
And just like we saw yesterday, we weren't sure if PSG in general was going to be able to bounce back from them falling down a little bit earlier in a series than they would have liked. And they fixed all those problems, and as soon as they did, games 5 and 6, they turned the Jets on and just crushed Guess Who.
Yeah, incredible series for PSG. I'm thrilled to have Farah on standby for an interview. Farah, welcome to the broadcast. First of all, congratulations. Talk me through that series. Was there a tipping point for you guys to secure that victory, and how are you feeling now that you're in the grand final?
I think like the first game where we scored in overtime, I think, if I remember correctly, it was very important. Or maybe it was the second, but yeah. We took a big lead at the beginning, so it was pretty good. It put us in a lot of confidence. And after that, we lost 2 games, but we felt we were still in control, so we kept our heads up, and we kept going, and it worked out pretty well.
So Farah, you have 1 best-of-7 left, and it's against a North America team. We don't know who yet, but Bluey said earlier, Day 2 was easy for you guys. You took out both Ghost and Equinox. Do you think it's going to be easy in this grand final?
Nah, it's a grand final. You know, it's like the nerves and everything. We are not. I mean, I think we showed at this tournament that we improved on that, but you know, a grand finals is something we don't really get used to. So yeah, let's just hope it will go well.
Yeah, well, I mean, regardless of whatever happens in your next series, you guys get to look even further ahead. You guys said you didn't get to take a lot of a break moving into DreamHack Open here. Do you plan to take a little bit of a break before the RLCS starts? Or do you want to just keep the grind going?
I don't know, maybe a few days, but the RLCS is not so far away. It's like in 1 month and a half, so we have to keep playing.
Am I the only one who just loves playing Rocket League? Why are people talking about breaks? Farah, last question for you. You're becoming a huge leader for this team, for PSG, with such talented young, I don't want to say kids, but
they're kids.
Bluey and Chaussette. and something I noticed during that series, particularly, I believe it was Game 5. You guys were tied 2-2, and you just scored. I noticed you going like this and like really talking to them. Can you give me an idea of the communication that you have with Bluey and Chaussette? Are you like trying to motivate them, or can you tell me?
No, it's just I need to. I think if I don't talk, no one really is talking. So I mean, between games and between goals. So I really need to get everyone focused, so we don't concede after a goal. So we are still hyped up in the game. And I need to, like say, oh, let's keep it going. We're doing great, and stuff like that. That's all.
Okay.
It's not that hard.
Well, thank you for talking with us, Farah, and best of luck in the grand finals.
Thank you.
All right, that's Farah from PSG. What a performance from them. Again, a 4-2 victory over Guess Who. Let's take another look at that one with the highlights. It was super close series. Again, I feel until about Game 4 or Game 5, but then certainly a tipping point where PSG just ran away with it.
And the monkey's off their back. They finally beat Guess Who, and it's not them getting, I don't know, like a reverse sweep or anything like that. And I was afraid. I'm like, uh-oh, they won games 1 and 2. Maybe it'll happen again. But this was a great series from both teams for at least the first 4 games. Very close, and then PSG took full control.
Yeah, Guess Who started off pretty well, trying to keep all of that offense in check. And then, like you said, later on in those series, I said earlier on, I was really impressed with Farah's play. And then watching that series, I realized it's just because Bluey's being an awesome setup guy. He was generating so many chances, but that fake from Fairy Peak, that
might be the best non-goal we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So Fairy Peak didn't even touch the ball. It was a beautiful play, but it didn't matter in the end. And Farah, he's one of those closers. He can shoot from anywhere, and he does it again here. It's probably the player that no one talks about on PSG the most, but they get the win. The young guns, they're going to the finals. The best European team here. Every single RLCS team showed up here from Europe. PSG's the last one standing.
And I love hearing those words from Farah about, trying to keep Chaussette and Bluey in the zone, really stepping up as a leader in this tournament. We'll see if their success can continue in the grand finals, but it's time to shift our focus over to the North American side. It's G2 going up against NRG. It's our last semifinal. We got to find out who's going to advance on to play PSG. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, a best of 7 between NRG and G2.